Welcome, everybody, to another Sober Life podcast. I'm your host, Scott Jones, coming to you from the Sober Life Studios and brought to you by One Brother, One Sister. Find out more about One Brother, One Sister. Go to onebrother.onesister.com. And any donation you make goes directly towards us helping first responders deal with trauma, addiction, mental health, and a whole bunch of other things. We go in, we educate them, we give them resources, and we do our best so that we can be a hero to our heroes. And if you want to be a part of that mission, go check out onebrother1sister.com. But for our show, we're going to have some fun because I met Frank. I know we've crossed paths before, Frank. Yes. This is Frank. Now you could say, now if you come from like the city where I come from, you would say Gentile,
right?
And that's what you would say. But out in the world, everybody else calls you Gentile.
Correct.
So,
correct. From back home.
Yes.
That's what I got.
That's what you got. But this is Frank Gentile from Harbor Village, which is located, the one we're talking about is right here in Florida, yes. In Miami, right?
Correct. Miami.
And, just really quick, why don't you tell us what Harbor Village is so we can set the stage?
Okay, so Harbor Village is a 100-bed substance use disorder program. And we have all levels of care from detox, residential, PHP, IOP, and OP. And we serve the local community. Basically, we don't serve many people outside of the local community.
Oh, okay. All right.
I mean, we do have people that come from other states, but it's rare. We're community-based.
Yeah, but are there other locations that are connected to Harbor Village throughout the country? Is that what I understand?
No. We came from a bigger company that split into 3 different ownership groups. So now we have another facility in Pahokee that is currently being furloughed. Unsure
in where?
Open it.
You can't just say that word and expect anybody to know what that is.
Yeah, no. Pahokee is up like around Belle Glade area, Clewiston.
Oh, okay.
By the lake.
Never heard of that one.
Yeah.
Never heard of that one. Of course, I grew up, I spent a lot of time in Jersey, so I'm used to the words like Piscataway, so I don't know why I'm shocked, right?
Well, good point. Good point.
Okay. All right. Terrific. So if you want to know more about it as we're talking, write this down, and I'll also put it in the comments when you're watching. HarborVillageFlorida.com is the website you go to learn more about their facility here. And, let's start with you, Frank. I know you came from up north.
Yes.
You're a Northeasterner, just like me. I'm from Syracuse, New York, and spent most of my time in Jersey. But you're from?
I'm from a little town in Connecticut called East Haven. But we say it so fast, it's a statement. So people call it Staven. That's what they call it. That's the mark that we got.
It's East Haven. East Haven. East Haven. All right.
So and you can. There's like a Christmas song about the town.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mama's cooking, Mikey's booking. Predominantly Italian. So there's a lot of good, interesting lyrics in there.
Yeah, I was up in Connecticut. Beautiful area up there.
Yes.
There's I would say 90% of Connecticut is really beautiful, great places to live. They've got their problems in certain places and stuff. But, Bridgeport is one that we all know.
Gun waving New Haven.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cute little nicknames out there for the darker parts of town.
Yeah, I got you. In fact, my son is up there right now. He's with 7 Brew Coffee up there. I don't know if you're familiar with the company.
I'm not. I've heard the name, but that's about it.
Yeah, he's killing it. Loves it up there.
Yeah.
Do you miss the North?
I don't.
Really? How long have you been down here?
On and off for about 29 years.
Oh, okay. All right. That's quite a while.
Almost as much. I'm 59, so it's almost as much as I've been in Connecticut.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm a Floridian.
We're the same age, too. I mean, it's perfect. I don't miss the cold, but I wouldn't mind visiting it once in a while. As long as I don't have to stay.
Yeah, I can adapt to that for sure. If I don't have to commute, go to work in it, I can go there and just enjoy it. Then it would be a different thing. Go watch a football game or something like that in the fall. So I miss the seasons, but not enough to go back to them.
Yeah, exactly. Connecticut, just Giants fan?
Yankees, Giants, Rangers, and of course the world champion New York Knicks.
I heard a rumor that you don't mind the Flyers. I heard a rumor.
Listen,
And that's I'm putting it out there. People are. I'm going to cause problems for you in your life.
no, listen. I dislike everything Philadelphia as far as sports.
Yes,
but I am a closet Flyer fan because hockey was my game, and when I was growing up, the two goaltenders, because I was a goaltender, I idolized most and designed my play by was Bernie Parent and Billy Smith from the Islanders.
Oh, Bernie Parent, come on.
Yeah. It's just that was my love to the Flyers,
Yeah.
Bernie Parent.
I was a Hextall guy, but that
Yeah.
was just, because I never saw a goalie so ready to fight all the time. Then, yeah.
I just wasn't as big as him.
So, what brought you down to Florida? I mean, is there a story that brought you down here?
There is. So I came here. My parents forced me here when I was 15. I didn't want to leave Connecticut. Walked into a high school down here. Didn't know anyone. Was incredibly uncomfortable. Didn't know that those feelings would help me later in life. And then I got kicked out of high school. Got kicked out of GED school. And so my parents did the only thing they could do was send me back to Connecticut to graduate. And I graduated because they knew some people, and some people did some things for me. And so I graduated at up in Connecticut, East Haven High School. And then I was there. My father said to me, he called me one day and said, "Hey, what are you going to do with your life?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" "I'm at the car wash. I'm the key guy. I got the key to the place to run it." He's like, no. And so he said, "Well, you want to do what your uncle does?" And I said, "What does he do?" And he said, "Tile and stone." I said, "All right." So I came back to Florida. And then I was here for 2 years and went back to Connecticut. I always felt I had to choose between my girlfriend and my daughter or my parents and my brother. So there was always a lot of uneasiness in my life, no matter where I was. So I went back to Connecticut and I stayed there. This is probably another 15 years, but I came back to Florida on my own accord in '99.
Now, I know part of your story takes you into addictions and some other issues. Did that develop during all of this back and forth while you were trying to figure out what you wanted to be or do or where you wanted to be?
Yeah, so I started getting high at 13. And, I don't know where it went from like experimental to recreational. I know where it got compulsive in hindsight.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it did. I think it accelerated that because I started, smoking crack at 19.
Okay.
So, and I was down here when I did it, so that's where it started. And, it progressed so quickly. And I spent the next 15 years, used for 20 years, 15 years of smoking crack regularly.
Well, how did that affect the family dynamics and stuff? That had to be a strain, or were you able to hide it from them?
I was able to hide it for maybe a year or two.
Yeah, it doesn't last long, does it?
No, I distinctly remember that thinking that, listen, going to work and smoking crack, you just can't do them both.
Yeah.
So I stopped working.
Oh, well,
and I had a good job in the union.
Yeah.
And,
wow.
I gave it all up, and it was just so pronounced in my life. I was a bad father. I was an abusive boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember in '97, I had a lump on my neck that was about the size of an M&M, and about 3 weeks later, it was the size of a golf ball. And my cousin Lisa, who worked at the bank, who was my regular hit for $20,
mm-hmm.
she seen that. She's like, "What is that?" And I explained it to her. She called my girlfriend. They took me to the doctor. From the doctor's office, they took me by ambulance to the hospital, Yale, New Haven, obviously. And the end all be all was I had stage 4 testicular cancer. And
wow.
I had a decision to make. And it was an easy decision at the time to get well. But because I was in the union and not going to work, my benefits didn't kick back in until September 1. I was diagnosed on August 27th. So back then it had pre-existed.
Mm.
So essentially I had no insurance.
Wow.
And the oncologist said, I'll make a deal with you. I would treat you for free if you stop getting high. And I did. I went through 4 months of radical chemo. And 2 hours after the last bag of chemo, I was in a hotel room smoking crack.
Wow.
And I did that for the next 3 years, and I got clean in 2001. So yeah, I didn't hide it very well. It had a huge impact on all areas of my life. And when I finally got clean, it wasn't like I was living on the streets or I had no job. I had a job, I had a place to go, a place to live. It was my parents' house, of course, but I was broken on the inside.
Yeah.
And that's what I couldn't stand living with me.
Let me ask you a question, because there's a lot of people that watch shows like this, and they don't quite understand the decision making and how that, because they may not have that issue, they may not have addiction issues. Is there any way you can describe what your thinking was? You went through the chemo, your life was saved, you had been off the drugs for a while. What was that decision that took you where most people would say, what, are you crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Did it make sense to you at the time? Do you even remember what you were thinking at the time?
I can't say that I remember the exact process of my thought. But it was just almost like I remember the trip home where I was going home and then veered off and just went and got high. I remember that. It was just so quick. It's like, yeah, boom. It's like almost when you use against your will, you know?
Yeah.
It's not like you're making a conscious choice thinking about, it's insanity. You're not thinking about the possible results, where you came from. It's just that quick, bang, impulsive thought. And then there you are.
I try to describe it to people. It's like you're underwater, and you're swimming and you're fine and everything else. But when you break the surface, the first thing you do is just take a breath. Mm-hmm. And that's almost like that. You get a period of time where you're away from the alcohol and drugs, where, you're putting your stuff together. And then it's almost as easy as breaking the surface, taking a drag of air. It's, taking that drug back in. It's instinctual, if that's a good word for it.
Yep,
what do you
think?
think?
That's an absolute great analogy. And yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's instinctual.
Yeah.
Sure. I can agree with that.
So then if cancer didn't stop it, obviously your parents and your family didn't stop it, your daughter didn't stop. What was that point where something happened where it really started to take hold that I'm changing my life?
Well, like I was telling you,
this is a personal thing.
Yeah, no. I mean, my life's an open book. I was at that stage where I just couldn't stand being with me. And I remember going on the computer. Back then, the computers were about that. Yeah. AOL login, and it was an instant message, and I thought it was my ex, and she typed in that I was a crackhead loser, and I'm like, and she said it was Kayla, who's my daughter. I'm like, this is Michelle. I know it's definitely my ex trying to make me believe it's my daughter. So I had her call me, and she called me.
And it was your daughter.
And it was my daughter. And I looked online for a meeting, just essentially Narcotics Anonymous, because that's what I'm a part of.
Yeah.
And I seen this meeting that was called Sanity at 6. And it just rang true. It was right around the corner. And I went there and haven't used since then.
Wow. And it's like, I also, this is another thing I try to explain to it. It's not always the big thing that happens. Mm-hmm. Getting arrested, getting hurt, in the hospital, almost dying, overdosing. It's usually not that. It's that moment where something touches your heart.
Yes.
And that was that for you, and for me, it was a different moment where I was arrested. But it wasn't the arrest. It was the fact that I was arrested down the street from my house, and I was in the back of the police car. And as they drove past my house, I could see the shadows of my kids moving inside my own house. Mm-hmm. And as I'm driving away in the back of the police car, I actually made that connection. You're losing all of it. It's all going to be gone. And that was that moment. So that's that's one of the problems with addiction is finding that turning point for everybody. It's different, isn't it?
It is, totally. And if you don't take advantage of it when it comes,
Yeah.
it's fleeting at times, and you may never get it again.
But that's what makes our job so hard.
Correct.
Is because we can't, we're like throwing spaghetti at the wall, and everything we're trying, it might work for this person, but it won't work for that person.
Correct.
And everybody's got different tipping points. So how, when you get all through that, how did you end up getting into like working with people?
Great question. So when I got here, I always thought in my head that I never had an office job. I was always on a construction site.
Yeah.
So I wanted to try that. So I tried that. I was doing mortgages and this and that, a lot of little nonsense. And then I went back to construction, opened up with a friend of mine who was a cabinet maker down here. We met in the rooms, opened up a remodeling business, and the timing of it all, because that's when the housing market ran and people weren't purchasing new homes, but they were taking out loans and upgrading theirs. Mm-hmm. So we did very, very well. And then, we had different visions. So he bought me out. I went my way, he went his way. And I just kind of lived for like the next 2 years like I was retired. I had some cash, so it wasn't affecting me. Then I bought a home to try to flip. This is where it started. And I got caught in the housing run. And I've blown my life up like I had used. But I did. I'm 42 years old. I have 8 years clean. I had nothing. I had a business, had everything. The ego was just I was just, in hindsight, I was just running an ego. I was back on mom's couch, and my sponsor said to me, "Why don't you try working in treatment?" And I'm like, "Why?" Because I failed in real life. My exact words.
Wow.
And so I raised my hand in a meeting, and I was explaining this process that I was going through, and one of my home group members, who was a dear friend of mine, is like, "Yeah, I work at a treatment center. I probably can get you a job." So now I'm living in my house that I haven't paid the mortgage in, I don't know, a year or two. And one of my buddies comes to get me. We go out for lunch, and he's like, "Hey, did you call Stewie?" That was the guy, my home group member. I'm like, "No, not yet." So, all right. He goes, "Why don't you call him?" I said, "Yeah, I will." We get in the car, and he's like, "Why don't you call Stewie?" I said, "I'm gonna." He goes, "Why don't you do it now?" So I did it, put that in its process, and as soon as we got home, 15 minutes later, I got a knock at the door. It's the sheriff. It's like, "Yeah, this is your eviction notice." Got the orange sticker.
Oh boy!
So I'm like, "All right. So what do I have? A week, a month?" It's like, "No, honey, you have 24 hours."
Oh man!
So that one door, until I let that one door close, the next door didn't open. That's the way that I see it. And so that's how I started. I started as the part-time weekend tech for $11 an hour. 42 years old, 8 years clean, 2009.
Did you find yourself or a piece of you there, or what? You obviously carried on with it. What was it that made it important to you to continue?
Well, at that point, going through what I went through or put myself through and being in that position, I learned enough to know that when you help people, you feel better.
Yeah.
And when I got into this, the first 5 years in this industry, I worked in ops at the facility level, and I enjoyed it. I really did. I really enjoyed it. I loved just talking with people, having an impact on their moment or their life. Because people had done the same thing for me. That's all I did. I didn't pioneer anything. I did for people what others did for me.
Right.
At the end of the day. So, and that's what it was. And then over the course of time, I moved into admissions and business development, which is called the dark side of the business.
It can be. It doesn't have to be, but it can be. Because there are people that get wrapped up in no matter what it takes to put heads in beds.
Correct.
And then there's other people that say, we have a service that belongs to some people. We got to find them, and it's important. So it's also, you've had to have had mornings, or maybe I should say better, you've had to have nights when your head hit the pillow and you thought, "Why the frick am I doing this?" We lose people. We get disappointed. It's a hard business. It tears your heart out every other day. Have you had those moments?
I have.
And what makes you get up and go back?
Well, like my current CEO, he says, you seem like you're almost desensitized to this at this point. I'm like, I wouldn't say that. It's been happening. My first experience with that, I was 13 years old, and I remember it like it was yesterday. My mother came into my bedroom, woke me up, and told me that my buddy up the street, Mark, died. So he got into a car crash with another friend of mine. So since then, I've been losing friends. Didn't know anything about addiction yet or anything like that. Right. In hindsight, another one of my friends hung himself. Just these things were happening. So I became familiar with death on a friendship level. But yeah, I lay down and, in the rooms, there's a saying that some must die so others can live. And the way that I comfort myself with that is that their job down here was done and they're on to a better place. And that's what makes me not be desensitized, but accept it and kind of keep it moving.
Yeah. We don't ever want to become desensitized where, some people say, some people are like, hey, listen, just get over it. Addicts die. That's just what happens. Yeah. And I don't think we should become that, because then we no longer look for answers. Mm-hmm. I think we need to look at every loss and say, could I have tried something different? And what can I try next time? And that's our job, is to keep finding ways to reach people. Have you had those moments where you've been able to share miracles with people and see amazing things? If you're in this business, it has to happen, right?
Yeah. So I was, when I first got clean, I'd met this guy. His name was Paul, a few years older than me, and he had like 2 years clean. And he was almost like a big brother to me, mm-hmm. And he had been in the middle of some legal stuff. And at the end of the day, his consequence was to go to jail. So he went to a local jail in a program. And so that's what I started my jails and institutions, where I started bringing meetings in.
All right, yeah.
I would bring a meeting into to his pod where he was, and then his mother couldn't bear to see him in jail, so I would go and visit his mother and let her know that he was okay. So I was able to kind of be the conduit for them to kind of communicate. While I was in there, I'm always seeing guys that are in there in the jumpsuits, and years later, I'm in a meeting, and the guy's getting a medallion. I forget how much it was. He goes, and there's a person in this room that helped me. He doesn't even know that he helped me when I was in jail, blah, blah, blah. He was speaking about me.
Wow.
And he came up to me, and he's married, he has 2 children, and there was, miracle there. And I use that experience, and I share it with other people. So you never know how you're going to impact someone's life. Just do the right thing for the right reason. Help as many people as you can. And help doesn't mean that you have to, if someone is struggling, you have to go pick them up or bring them somewhere or do that. You can just pray for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just help everybody.
Sometimes I say the biggest thing you could do for somebody else is just to show up.
Sure.
If you stop showing up, if you start giving up, then all hope is lost for them and for you.
Yeah.
Because we need this. One more thing about you, and then I really want to talk about Harbor Village. The strained relationship with your family, mm-hmm. and specifically your daughter and everything else. This is for people out there who might be struggling, who are afraid. How did that start to change, and where is that today?
So that started to change because of my sponsor. My sponsor told me that I needed to call my daughter once a week, same time, same day. And I used to call her Sunday morning at 11 a.m. And no one answered the phone for like a year and a half. And I was pissed off, blah, 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 ego stuff. And then finally she answered, and we started having these conversations. And then my sponsor told me, he said, Frankie, at the end of each conversation, you have to tell your daughter that someday she's going to need you and that you'll be there, but her head is going to tell her that you don't have the time, you don't want to be bothered. So you have to reinforce that you'll be there, and then you have to be there. So I did that for a while, and then I got a call on a Saturday from one of my childhood friends who was living with my ex at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, Frank, Kayla overdosed. And I said, is she dead? And he's like, I don't know. I'm going to the hospital now. I'll call you when I get there. So he calls me. Obviously, she's not dead. About an hour later, my daughter calls me and she goes, Dad, I need help. I said, okay. Jumped in the car, ran to Connecticut, picked her up, brought her here. I'd like to say that she stayed clean from that point, but she did not. I came home from work one day and all her stuff was gone. I didn't see her for about 90 days. And I get a text one morning and she tells me she's pregnant. And I tell her, well, I'm disappointed in that choice, but what's the plan and how can I help? And since that point, we went from that point of just starting to communicate together to where I just bought a house that's door to door, 2 minutes away from her. I have two grandsons, 10 and 5. They come walking. I want to give them the experience to be able to walk to grandpa's house, or they call me Poppy. And so now we have dinner together. We, come over, you got an aspirin, or just like the other morning I woke up, I didn't answer my phone. So I woke up on my bed and my daughter and my ex are sitting there like, you okay? I'm like, yeah, sleeping. She goes, it's 11 o'clock. You don't sleep till 11 o'clock. So I got people that care about me, the people that, I abused both really,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But now through the course of recovery, finding a God of my understanding, following the direction of people who've been down the same path that I chose to go down and putting in the work. I mean, how does it get better than that?
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's a great, great feeling.
That's
and she's
awesome.
doing so well. She works with us at Harbor. She's just, I'm in awe of the mother, the person she's become, the daughter. She just, I scratch my head sometimes and say, do I really deserve this?
Mm.
And I do, because I earned it. I worked for it.
That's great, because there had to be times when you felt like it's hopeless and this will never change. And look at you now, and look at the people around you that you've affected, and or at least been a little bit of a light for others to follow. That's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. If you are somebody who's sitting at home watching this, if you or somebody that you care about is deep into an addiction or having a struggle with alcohol, drugs, or even mental health, please reach out for help. Reach out. Don't believe the voices in your head that tells you nothing will ever change or I can't change. And that's a loud voice, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a loud freaking voice.
And it never goes away.
It doesn't.
Just has a less of an impact on your life if you're doing the right thing.
Right. And it changes from a fact to a little bit of a doubt. And we all have that. There's always that little bit of a doubt, like, I don't know if this is going to work, but then you try anyway. So that's awesome. Now you're with Harbor Village now. I know you work for a few places, I guess, along the path. What led you to Harbor, and what is it about Harbor that makes you so connected to it?
Okay, so the current CEO of Harbor I met about 10 years ago, and he was doing some marketing for the company that I was working for. Unfortunately, that company, closed. But before they closed, they merged with another company, and he was doing the marketing. And at that point, it's like in recovery, you say, two sickies don't equal a welly. Well,
Two dead batteries can't jumpstart a car, right?
So your destination at this point. So I said to him, hey, is there anyone out there that that can utilize my skill set? And he said, yeah, this guy's putting something together. So I called up the guy. We spoke. I'm very open. Laid it on the line of who I was, what I wanted to do, blah, blah, blah. So we started this it was a marketing company first. And then it became a huge company where we went from 0 beds to 1,000 beds in 4 years.
Wow.
So it was huge. And I learned a lot. I learned so much in that space of time, even though a lot of it was uncomfortable. In hindsight, it was well worth it.
Right.
So as that company split into 3 ownership groups, the marketing guy that I met is one ownership group, which is Harbor Village. and also Dignity Healing, which is on furlough. So that's how I became to come to Harbor Village. So I know this man. I trust this man. He is not in recovery. He has a long leash of patience. His family is well ingrained into the medical community down here in South Florida. So that's why I'm at Harbor Village, because I know we can make a difference. We're not going to make a difference like we did at the other company, which was a lot of people all over the country. We're going to do it right here in our community where we can actually see the benefit of, the process of going through Harbor Village. So that attracts me more than the scale of things. Scale looks good, glittery on the outside, but for me, it wasn't as glittery on the inside.
Right.
So, and this fulfills feeds my soul better, that I can know that I'm doing something for my community, right here in South Florida. I mean, not that we won't only do that, but, when you see that, I think you're out in the community, you see the benefits.
Absolutely. And to have it a little more intimate allows you to build relationships with the people you're helping as well.
Yeah.
It's not like they disappear and they become
No.
a number somewhere, which does happen. I mean,
Yes.
and I think it's important. I don't mind large scale companies as long as they keep each entity intimate in a sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of programming do they do over there at Harbor? And, who's a good fit for Harbor's treatment style?
So largely we serve because we are totally like in network. So we serve a different population than we did, let's say, at the other company. And I think it's a population that has been underserved, to be quite honest with you.
All right.
So there's a lot that goes beyond that. So anybody with substance use co-occurring, it just can't be mental health primary. We're not licensed to do that.
Okay. All right.
That's the only thing we can't do. But so we're serving people that are largely got like marketplace plans. A lot of our community comes in with only the clothes on their back. So we like donate clothes from admissions, all departments. We have bins in our call center where people come in and put clothes that we can bring down there to them. So sometimes we see people that come in with nothing, and we watch that flower grow, and improving our outpatient product, which is to get people more ready to assimilate back into their life instead of in this industry. And this is my own personal opinion.
Yeah,
I think we focus much more on emergent care than aftercare.
And aftercare is where the rubber hits the road.
1,000%.
I'm not going to say it's easy to stay clean and sober in a treatment center, but it certainly is there's a lot of stressors that don't exist in there.
Correct.
And it does make it somewhat easier. So when they hit the road, if they don't have a plan, if they don't have somebody supporting them, if they don't have that, so you're obviously Harbor, you guys actually care about that last part when they transition out and try to set them up for success, right?
Yes, 1,000%. We don't want to see you again.
Yeah.
There's so many people that need help. We don't need to see the same person over and over again. And I think that, again, my own personal opinion, down here in South Florida, I think if all of us in this industry would have more of a vision of us being colleagues versus competitors, that we would help a lot more people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to ask you this too. The world's a little different. You've been sober about 25 years?
Yes.
Yeah. The world's a little different than when we got sober. The drugs that are being used, the things that are happening, the stressors that are out there, the changes even in the treatment industry. So much has changed. Has that shocked you at all? Things like fentanyl and all these things coming around. Have there been moments when it's just like really blown your mind how bad it is?
Many times.
Yeah.
I think about it, and I'm thankful for when I grew up, when I was born, because I don't think that I would have been able to make it like with all the challenges these young kids have. And it's not only the drugs, it's the internet, it's social media, it's all the things that kind of accumulate together that would make it so much more difficult just to grow up.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, it's like, well, I was like, I built my own image without the social media. I can imagine what I would have been like if I had that.
I often say that it's like, I used to have to go to school to get bullied.
Yeah.
Now our kids are getting bullied in their own, in their homes, in their bedrooms, with their phones, and their laptops, and their tablets, and it's like this full access. And I mean, here's a strange statement. Thank God it was only crack.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
Because with the drugs that are out there today, so this is one of those things where sometimes I think we get stuck in our treatment modalities. We're kind of stuck in the past and not thinking. The addictions out there are changing. We need to keep up.
Yes.
We need to keep looking for new things. Is that something Harbor's interested in doing? Is trying to find new ways to reach people and new things to do?
We're constantly trying to do that, and the patients teach us.
Yeah,
you just got to be smart enough and wise enough and aware enough to learn from them.
Yeah,
because they'll teach you everything you need to know. It's still, we have to meet them where they're at, but they're going to teach us, how to go about that. Because like you said, what may be a stressor for a guy like me, they're different stressors today.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's like the cell phones are the biggest thing. It's like, can you find a way to have patients utilize their phone while they're in treatment in a healthy way?
That's a good point, because it's easy just to take them away from them, but you're not teaching them anything. No. So they've got to have access to some of those things so you can teach them healthy new habits. Mm-hmm. But you're right, we're inundated with so much. And it seems like the treatment window keeps shrinking because of our dealings with, insurance companies and everything else. It gets smaller and smaller. Mm-hmm. So it almost feels impossible task sometimes, but what do you see about that?
Yeah, I mean, you take everything into account. You got the different drugs that are out there, the internet, social media, insurance companies. It seems like everybody's working against you sometimes.
Yeah,
and you're just trying to provide a service. That's it. Come on in. Come to our front door, look at it, tell us what you think we're not doing or something that we should be, punished for or need to change. We're an open door. We're just trying to get through and help people. Literally, like our CEO is right now on campus, walk around talking to people, interviews them, blocking AMAs last week. So we're not all family, but we are.
Yeah.
We're not blood relatives, but we're family. Make no mistake about it. So that's what we're trying to do that's different, to make people, because his dad was a world-class eye surgeon. And his dad always taught him that you're welcoming your patients into your home when they come to your office.
Right.
And that's how they need to be treated.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And we are all family. We're united by a common goal, which is to help another human being. And that's important. Now, there's a lot of people, you mentioned a moment ago that you do not handle primary mental health. But there's a lot of people that don't know. In fact, I'd say most aren't sure which came first, the chicken or the egg. What's a primary, what's not a primary? If they call you and it turns out that it is something that takes you to, you guys just don't dump them. Do you help them find places, and do you do all of that?
We do. And sometimes you're correct. From medical professionals that have informed me throughout my career, is that you have to have the substance in line before you can make a correct mental health diagnosis.
Yes.
So there are a lot of times when people will come to us and they'll go through detox, and medical will say, you know what, this person's going to be better served at a mental health primary. So we do that. If they call us on the phone, for example, and they don't have any, like a clear indication as mental health primary is they don't have any substance use in the assessment.
Right.
So right off rip, okay, so here we go. Now we have some partners that we work with. What we prefer to do, instead of just saying, hey, call this number, we send with their permission, we send the insurance to one of our partners, and we keep them on the line and let our partner know we're going to do a live transfer with this patient.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And then we kind of hand them off that way. So they feel like they're in somebody actually cares about them other than just putting them in a place or giving them information.
Absolutely.
So-
And that is so important that when they call a number, there's not that level of rejection where they're like, I can't help you. Here's a number, and you hang
Yeah.
up. Because that is a level of rejection that they can't handle. But to say, all right, well, you know what? Right here isn't going to, but we've got somebody. Let me give them a call and let's get you hooked up. And that's a beautiful thing. And that could be huge in somebody changing. Like I said, most people don't even know. They don't know if they're primary mental health. They don't know if they're primary
No.
addiction. And you're right. Sometimes we can't solve that. I know I worked for a place years ago. This goes back quite a few years ago. And every diagnosis, every client coming through the door was diagnosed with ADD. And I'm like, every single one. And I'm like, it's called addiction. It comes off like ADD.
Right.
You got to wait a little while until you can handle some things.
Uh-huh.
And then you can diagnose. That's a difficult thing we deal with, isn't it?
It is. It is. And one of the things, the words matter a lot of times. And like our call center will say that instead of saying we can't accept you, they'll say we're not licensed to work with primary mental health. So it's on us. That's what we try to convey.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and then when you see, like, listen, I'm not educated. I'm high school graduate. High school level is my highest. I wasn't trained clinically or medically, but you learn something along the way.
Yeah.
And when you go through recovery, you learn about, or at least I have been self-assessing myself for so long. You learn things.
Yeah.
So naturally you can see things. So you do have some input for medical professionals and clinical professionals. But at the end of the day, it's whatever they say needs to happen. And we are prepared. We had a guy in there yesterday that I met, and he's got literally gashes, scars on his arm from cutting. I mean, and you look, and he's the man that ate razor blades. And you're like, my God, this poor soul.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there talking to him, just trying to bring him down, de-escalate him, because he's kind of spinning, But then at that point, I know enough to know that that's as far as I can take this man.
Right.
You know what I mean? So everybody has to know what their role is. You can't, you're not a therapist if you're a tech or a case manager.
Yeah.
You got to kind of just get them to where they need to be served best.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you mentioned one thing earlier. The most important thing is just to listen and learn about these people. There's nothing we can teach them until we know who they are. So listening, how important is that at Harbor that you guys listen to the clients instead of just mandate everything?
Yeah, and I was taught that by my sponsor. He said, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, so you should listen twice as much as you talk. And at the end of the day, that's what it's at. Because if you listen to someone, they'll tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
Just listen. Don't get engaged. They're going to look to engage you in negativity. Don't do it.
Right.
That's where they're at. You're supposed to be somewhere else.
But if you allow somebody to share and they believe they're being heard, they will give you enough information so you do know how to help them, or at least at the starting point, and that's so important. Frank, wow, we're running up against it on time. I mean, it was really gone so easily with you. I hope we can do this again.
Sure.
Maybe some other people from your place come up and we'll definitely talk about it. I'd love to come down and do a little tour and find out what you guys are all about, talk about it on the show.
Sure.
We could do that. Again, if you go to harborvillageflorida.com, you can learn more about the place. You can also call it our toll-free number, 833-350-0449. That's 833-350-0449. Somebody's listening right now and they're afraid to call. They're afraid to ask for help, or they don't believe that anybody can help them. What do you want to tell them?
I'll tell you what I told my daughter. At some point in your life, you're gonna need help, and you're gonna think that it's not out there or you're not worthy. We are all worthy. We're all made perfect. We made bad decisions, and that doesn't mean we're bad people. That just means that we need to make better decisions. And what better way to learn how to make better decisions than from people who have made those same decisions as you, but now have found a new way to make better decisions. So pick up the phone, reach out in some way, shape, or form, and call somebody. Just ask for help.
And that phone call can be completely confidential. They don't need, they can ask questions.
Sure.
Anything.
1,000%. You don't have to come to treatment. You can call us up and ask us some questions.
Ask for questions. Ask them where to buy a good pizza or something.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, nowhere in Florida can you buy good pizza. That's what I'm telling you. And you know I'm telling the truth about that.
You are definitely telling the truth. New Haven's the best pizza in the world.
Well, listen, Jersey Shore, Mac and Mangoes,
Yeah.
come on.
The original Pepe's, Sally's.
Okay, all right.
Modern.
All right,
we got a lot going on there.
We got a lot of food up there. You're never going to get a good pizza or a cheesesteak in Florida. I'm sorry. They're going to try. It just doesn't happen.
I agree with that.
Doesn't happen. Frank, thank you very much,
thank you
my
for having
friend.
me. I really appreciate it.
And thank you for the good work that you do. And thank all of the staff at Harbor Village for what they do. And all of you, thank you for taking a little bit of time and spending it with us right here on the Sober Life Podcast. Again, coming to you from Sober Life Studios, brought to you by One Brother, One Sister. I'm Scott Jones, your host. I hope everyone out there, remembers there's two rules. There's only one rule to living a happy life. Do 2 nice things for yourself and 1 nice thing for somebody else every day, and you're never going to be sad. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye. I'll try that again. Bye-bye.